know what we doing for the red, white, and blue. Oh, if you rep your city, that's a lay by the too.
Like I play for New England, ballin'. Like I play for New England, ballin'. Like I play for New England.
Should be good shit to go, cause all we know is winning.
Ballin'.
They weren't balling last
You know
time.
who's ballin'? It's Titletown, but last I checked, Lamar Jackson was the one ballin' in New England, although it was in Baltimore. Johnny boy, your boys finally played a good team, and what happened?
They lost.
They lost. So, I'm hoping, John, that the New England Patriots, because I love, there's not much better. There's me winning in my fantasy game, which will not happen against you this week because you have better luck than I do. It comes down to Zeke and Saquon. Zeke has a great matchup. Barkley has a terrible one, but Barkley's still going to score more points.
I don't see that.
So there's that. There's New England losing, and then there's the Cowboys winning. And in that order for me. It's a joyous day today. I know social media was eerily quiet. I didn't see a lot of Patriots fans on social media this morning, John. How is it that happens all the time? When they disappoint against a good team. I'll say a good team. Baltimore's a good team, right? Not a great team. Would you agree with that?
Offensively, they're top 5.
Well, yeah, but they're a great running game, but their passing game's not that great.
Well, they run more than they pass.
Their defense is middle of the pack, so they're not a well-rounded team.
But I think there's underlying things here, like this is a rivalry regardless of their division or not. These guys are always playing each other in the playoffs. It's been a rivalry for a while.
Here's the underlying thing. Patriots have been playing tomato cans all year long.
No, I've never said that.
Tomato cans.
That's the difference between me and most Pats fans. I admit that we had a cupcake schedule. I admit that we were going to face a hard team. What did I say a couple weeks ago? That this would probably be our first loss, a good chance.
Well, it was.
I said that, and
it shouldn't have been because New England's a better team.
But here's the thing. They are a better team, but they have not faced a good offense. They have not faced a good weapon like Lamar Jackson. And then they finally did, and they didn't have an answer to it.
Now, I will say this, because I know people think I just love to pile on the Patriots. And you know what? You people can handle it. You win championships every year. Get over it. You get... When you're a fan of the team that wins all the time, you got to have a little durability. I mean, come on. But I will say this. Relax. They're going to be in the Super Bowl like they are every year. Just relax.
You know what I like about this loss? More than anything?
That it happened? That's what I like about it.
No, I'm glad the loss happened because for a good reason. Carrying that undefeated thing is something that looms and is too much pressure. No, I'm just saying. They've done it a couple times.
I'm sure Bill Belichick's really like, I'm glad we lost because that undefeated thing was really stressing me out.
It doesn't really stress him out, but you know it does affect some of the players.
Yeah, that's a I don't know, whatever. But hey, listen, the good things are coming, guys, because some more crap games are coming up on the schedule. So New England Patriots, they're gonna be fine. I'm not gonna lie. Normally, I just predict that they'll be in the Super Bowl every year because that's just how it happens, by hook or by crook. They get in there. But they better come correct if they play against Kansas City. They can't be playing like that if they meet Kansas City.
And Kansas City's smart right now. I know some people are banking on Mahomes playing this week, and they said the chance of him
40%. Yeah.
Yep, re-injuring his knee and dislocating was 40%.
Yeah.
If he waits till next week, is about 10 or 15%. So for once, they made a good decision. They're thinking long term, and that's smart. Especially they know they have to do well without Mahomes, but that actually showed they actually have to do it as a team, and they did.
Yeah.
So
number one, relax. Number two, don't whine and cry when people make fun of the Patriots because you win the championship every year. Get over it. So that's it.
You know who's not getting over these people are going to go over in the news. So first person in the news,
especially Mark Walton.
Mark Walton just slapped with a 4-game suspension for violating the NFL's policy on substance abuse and misconduct.
So I'll be curious to know if there's more to that. Walton also, I think, had a DUI, which was the purpose of his original suspension.
That could be the conduct thing. It didn't say it in there, but it did say conduct.
I don't know if that's the case again. Uber's really cool. It's really cool because you can drink and not have to drive, and you don't have to wait for a cab. You don't have to hail a cab. There's a sweet little app. I don't know if that's the case though, but that was, I think, what caused his
Uber's
first
great.
suspension.
You can sit there and not even have a conversation with your driver. That's optional.
Yeah, we'll give Lyft some love as well. You know. Yeah, this is a bad deal. You know, Miami showed some signs of life, and I'm sure Preston Williams is in your news here, and he got on for a little bit.
Well,
Like.
I might as well tie that in now.
Yeah, we can tie it right
Preston Williams is out for the season. His knee.
So it's officially the season.
It's the season.
And then, you know, this news on Mark Walton. Miami's destined for first overall pick, but Cincinnati might have something to say about that. But I also think you never know. This kid could be the real deal in Cincinnati there, the Irish kid there. What's his name?
Finley.
Yeah.
Ryan Finley.
And he loves to fight. But anyway, it's a sad day for Miami. They finally showed some signs of life, and they're just destined to be a trash organization for the rest of mankind.
The only thing I will say is they have, even if they don't have first pick, the amount of picks they have stockpiled for next year.
And you know what this says, John? And that, you know, Adam Gase should be fired tomorrow, in my opinion. I don't know why they hired that guy in New York. I don't know what their thought process was there. He left Miami worse than when he got there, you know, and he's doing the same thing. How it's possible to leave the Jets worse than when you get there, but he's doing it. I don't even remember what my original point was, but so with the dude there in Miami, what's the coach's name? You should know this because he was a former
Brian
Patriot.
Flores.
Brian Flores. The team played for each other yesterday, and the team played for him yesterday. So there's something to be said for that. But yeah, bad stuff here. That's a shame.
So next news.
Devontae Parker though, that guy's stock just rose.
Albert Wilson as well.
I would say so, but I haven't seen him do it yet. He's been nothing but hype his whole career.
He hasn't really played that many snaps. I think with this happening, it's either going to be him or Jakeem Grant.
But would you agree he's really been nothing but hype? I would say Gesicki's got a better chance. I don't know.
I think Jakeem.
I'm starting to not believe ever in Albert Wilson, and I know the talent he's got. He's a yak monster.
Yeah.
He's got the potential to be, but he's just never really come.
I think Jakeem Grant will be the silent one that no one
Could
thinks
be.
about.
We'll see. And
So-
then, of course, this leaves Kalen Ballage. He's a guy that runs like he's got a Volkswagen strapped to his back. That's just ugly. So I would anticipate, John,
A lot of throwing.
maybe the return. I'm just gonna say this. Maybe the return of Jay Ajayi to Miami.
It could happen.
It's a
He's
possibility.
a free agent. So,
Yep.
in other news, Josh Jacobs' shoulder was limited in practice today, but notice I said the word limited, so we'll always take that on a Monday.
He was last week too, right? And
Yep.
He played and he balled out.
Yep, so he should be fine.
Yep.
Panthers, a couple things for the Panthers. Panthers claim Dante Moncrief, but what did we say at the beginning of this season with Dante Moncrief? He's trash.
I hate to say that about a human being. I guess when you
He was the number 2 in Pittsburgh to start the
Yeah.
season. Where do you end up?
and that I said a long time ago in the offseason that dime wasn't buying you a cup of coffee.
That was hype.
Fake news. Is
We
what
said
that
either
was.
Deontay Johnson or we said James Washington.
Well, Jalen Samuel's the number 1, so I guess that makes Juju Smith-Schuster the number 2. So we'll get into that.
the other bit of
I
news.
can assure you.
The other bit of news is Kyle Allen.
So, by the way, I have a new name for him. It's Scrooge Smith-Schuster. That's officially his new
Kyle
name.
Allen will start against the Packers this week. Cam Newton.
He might start for the rest of the year, yeah.
Yes. Rumors with Cam Newton as of right now. A lot of talks. He's not healing the way he should. He's not even.
Yeah, like he hasn't progressed at all by the sounds of it.
It sounds like it actually hasn't gotten better.
What did I... Okay, remember back in the offseason, what did I tell you? This was, I think, on my Hot Take episode. This feels like an Andrew Luck situation.
It is
That's what
turning
it
into
feels
that
like.
too. Exactly. And then what they were.
Yeah, what's happening?
What they were saying the other day, there's a good chance that he will be shut down for the year, and Kyle Allen will start.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like right now.
Yeah.
Other news. This guy, every time he shows potential, something goes wrong. Paris Campbell, hand fracture, will miss time, but will not be put on injury reserve. But I figure a hand fracture is going to cost him 3 to 4 weeks.
You know what, dude? I'm watching that game, and I fear, as talented as he is, the career path of Paris Campbell is going to follow the career path of Percy Harvin.
Ugh.
And that the team only views him as a gadget guy. Like, you watch, and he's not catching passes. He's doing, like, end-arounds and stuff like that. So I don't know that there's a fantasy impact to be had here, just because I don't think... I mean, this was an opportunity for for Campbell to be a big part of the game plan. It just wasn't. He just wasn't. The kid, what's his name there, Pascal, was a part of it for sure, but Campbell just hasn't been able to take the opportunities, so nothing to see there.
So, unless something happens big, I know they're saying he has a chance to play this week, but Jacoby Brissett has a strained MCL, came out of the game early. So on the same play, not only did he get his foot stepped on, but the lineman backed into his leg, basically hyperextending his knee backwards.
It was like a double whammy.
It was like a double whammy, so it wasn't just a step on the foot that made it bad, it was the strained MCL. Brian Hoyer ended up playing the rest of that game, but
He did a fine job.
they are saying Brissett has a chance to play against Miami this week. I think it's stupid. If he
I've
is,
seen that, yeah.
I think you just play Hoyer against the Dolphins.
Well, the problem is, I mean, they're 5-3, so the tough loss this week to the Steelers, who honestly had no business winning that game. And Vinatieri, obviously, this definitely I think is his last year if he makes it all.
46. You gotta. I mean, I got.
Yeah, I mean, the man is the greatest kicker of all time, arguably. So it's hard to beat him up. But you just watching, I saw on Facebook, one of the fantasy football discussion threads, or the only one of the two I'm involved in. Somebody had made a point about Vinatieri and that his time is over, and some guy made an excuse. Well, he hit the laces. It was a bad hold. Well, yeah, it was a bad hold, but what about all the other kicks he's missed this year? You know what I mean? You can't just isolate it to that one kick. But yeah, Brissett, I think they need him out there, John, because this is a time of the year where the wins are really important. They really are. So, and he's not really a running quarterback necessarily. He doesn't run a ton, so I don't think he's got too much risk of re-injury, but I think the team thinks they need him out there to win, and they don't think they can win with Hoyer, and they've got every right to think that.
Speaking
They
of
couldn't win this week with a team that only targeted one guy.
Speaking of injury being rushed back, I know Deshaun Jackson's been fighting to come back.
Yeah.
And I think he actually just made himself worse. He has core muscle injury.
He had surgery, right?
He is going to be out another 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, because he's having surgery.
Yeah, at this point,
that's the season.
That's the season. So
yeah, they can hope to have him for the playoffs.
If you're in a league with Deshaun Jackson, cut him.
Unless it's a dynasty or a keeper.
Yeah, just cut him.
It's a shame too, because the reunion there in Philly and Wentz, like Deshaun Jackson does to quarterbacks, Wentz played better when Jackson was out.
Yeah, and he looked. I mean, at the beginning of his first 2 games, he looked amazing.
But I'm a Cowboys fan, so not enough bad things can happen to the Eagles.
This was a little bit bummer news yesterday, though. Adam Thielen hamstring will play when doctor says he's ready and ready to play. So to me, this sounds like more than a 1 week thing. I'm guessing by the way it's talking. My speculation would be 2 to 3 weeks.
Boy, oh boy, I hope that's not the case, because you and I have set up we've built a bully in our tag team league, but we did manage to win without Thielen last week, and I think more of that was luck than anything else. That's tough to hear. I think Thielen really wants to be out there, but he probably could have gone another week, you know what I mean? And we were excited to have him, but this is the risk that you take when, like Devontae Adams was another one. I'm like, geez, I hope, he doesn't aggravate anything. But then again, Devontae Adams has had like a fortnight, 2 fortnights, 3 fortnights, however many fortnights to recover. So he should have been fine. But it's just and then there's the decoy thing that you worry about. Thielen certainly was not a decoy. Cousins went at him right away, and I just tweaked at route running. Yeah, is my guess. So it's a shame. So keep your eyes peeled for that week by week. Redskins declined to name a starting quarterback for week 11. I still think Haskins is trash. That's my personal intake on that one. Yeah, he didn't look good. I mean,
he barely threw the ball.
Well, and I think that's what you look at it. Mason Rudolph's a trash quarterback too. He might be worse than Haskins. He might be. I would say Rudolph's probably the worst starting quarterback in the league, and there may be backups that are better than him. So what do? They have him not throw it all or throw 5 yards away.
You mean like Brandon Allen? We'll talk about that more, though, when we get to that.
He started pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we'll talk about more of that.
I was going to say, don't be down on him.
No, I'm giving the kid credit. Remember we said...
What did I say, guys? When there's a guy that's going out there, you go pick him up, and if he's nothing, you just dump him.
That's why next week is Finlay. Right,
yes. Finlay. He loves to fight.
He loves to fight, and he'll win a game here.
Yeah.
Okay, next bit of news. Le'Veon Bell underwent an MRI on his knee on Monday, or today, I should say. So waiting to hear reports back from that.
Who?
But Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, okay.
So
He sucks, dude. I'm sorry, but I think it's a big part of it is because of that team sucks. Kid, stop dropping stuff over
Sorry,
there.
sir.
speaking
Unacceptable.
of stinking,
You're the cameraman.
Got it.
the Cleveland Browns, Freddie Kitchen says Kareem Hunt will definitely have a role in week
of course he will.
10 against the
Of course
Bills.
he will.
Or 9. Wait a minute.
You know, Freddie Kitchens must spend a lot of time in the kitchen. He's a big fella. I was just like watching him during the game, and I'm like, you look at this guy. I see the same thing in Matt Patricia. I'm like, they just don't look like head coaches.
No, they don't.
You know, neither does Belichick. But I guess you know what I mean. I just look at those guys. I'm like, those guys just look clueless out there.
Bruce Arians said Ronald Jones has earned the right to start and play more snaps.
He's
So that's-
got, he's got a decent matchup next week. I'm trying to move Marvitron for a running back because I made the deal for Julio, who better go off next week or I'm going to be really mad. And of course I traded Jacobs in that deal, so I need like a 1 week fill-in with Fournette's bye. So I was thinking Peyton Barber, but I'd rather Mark Ingram. Do you think it's worth it? Trade a guy like Marvitron for a 1 week. I didn't mean Peyton Barber, by the way. I meant Ronald Jones for a 1 week fill-in.
If you want to win that week, yes.
Yeah.
It depends how you-
Well, I don't know. This might be a news flash to you, but I would prefer to win that week since
Well,
I'm going to
that's-
lose a fluky matchup to you again.
You're not going to lose. We will
We'll
discuss.
see.
We will discuss it.
So
tomorrow.
here's the part, folks, where I say I'll put $50 on it. And he's like, no, I don't have any money.
I don't.
Well, then you will
Yeah,
if you
that's
take
not
this
allowed.
sure bet that you insist is going to happen.
So, well, we also bet on Juju getting 200 targets. And I was supposed to sing. I really thought I was going to be singing, but that went sour.
That's down the crapper now, though.
Well, that's not my fault. Big Ben went out.
But that's part of it. I just picked my nose on live TV. I didn't pick it. It wasn't a pick. It was a scratch. For those Seinfeld fans out there.
We're going to finish the last bit of news and we'll go into the games and discuss more. Josh Gordon passed his physical and is aiming to make his Seahawks debut next
Sweet.
Monday night. But should be practicing this week, and we will see what Mr. Josh Gordon can do.
He's going to draw double coverage, which makes Tyler Lockett even more valuable.
Or DK Metcalf more valuable since he has the
DK.
most red zone targets in the league.
Yeah, man, that Seattle team. If they could just do what they do every other week, every week, they'd never. I mean, geez, they'd be Super Bowl winners for sure this year. Unless Russell Wilson wants to take a big bag of money to throw the game against the Patriots.
You never know.
Again.
We'll go into the first game, Thursday night's game. San Francisco 49ers played the Arizona Cardinals, and the 49ers came out victorious, and they still stay undefeated at 8-0, and the Cardinals will drop to 3-5-1. 49ers won this game 28-25. I actually told somebody, they asked me that night who I thought would win, Arizona or the 49ers. I actually chose Arizona, and somebody's like, why would you choose Arizona? Here's an interesting stat. Before this game this week, Arizona was actually 8-0 in the last 8 matchups against 49ers. That's why I chose Arizona as an upset.
You know why else
It
you
didn't
chose?
happen.
You know why else?
Why?
I don't even like Drake. You don't like the Drake? Hate the Drake.
I love the Drake.
How could you not like the Drake? Who's the Drake?
Who's the Drake?
Drake
The
is
Drake looked good.
Who's the Drake? We all know who the Drake is now. The big surprise coming out of this game, John, was the performance of one Kenyon Drake, 15 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown. And then, oh, by the way, 4 catches for 52 yards through the air. He ran at a 7.3 yard per carry clip, John. And had he got more carries, they might have won the game, to be honest with you. They stayed competitive on the back of Kenyon Drake. What's going to happen when David Johnson and Chase Edmonds are back, more specifically David Johnson? That's the big question here.
I think you could see double running back sets, to be honest.
I think-
They're both great pass catchers.
I think David Johnson still gets maybe not even the lion's share, but he'll get more than the Drake. But the Drake, I feel like, has earned some carries here. I could see this as, ironically, the team they face as a San Francisco 49ers type of a situation with, I think, not necessarily a 15 to 12 carry ratio like San Francisco had this week, but maybe David Johnson gets 20 carries and Drake gets 10 every week. You know what I mean? I could definitely see that happening. They both can catch passes. I think Kingsbury, John, is probably salivating over the fact that he's got two gems. One of them, David Johnson's a better player than Drake, but Drake is a dynamic player. He has pass catching ability. This is what he could have done in Miami had they ever used him properly. This would indicate that they did not use him properly, John. And he's a good guy to have. I mean, I would temper your expectations because once David Johnson gets back out there, which will be the next game, presumably, this guy, his workload's going to go down, but I think there will be a workload there. And I don't know if Arizona is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I'm assuming it's close.
It's very close at this point.
But maybe this leads them to say, well, maybe we just give David Johnson just another week off, just to really truly heal him up. And
I don't know, but this is where the news gets kind of sketchy. There was another thing I saw that David Johnson could potentially be back this week. Is that David Johnson pushing himself so he doesn't lose his starting job? Maybe it's possible.
I don't think David Johnson's losing his starting job. I think he might, lose some carries, but he's not going to lose his starting job unless he gets hurt. That's not happening. But Drake definitely proved himself, and I don't know if Drake's in a contract year or not, but, he's definitely, teams have got to be looking at him saying, oh, wow, this guy does have the right stuff. But he needs usage, just like any running back. And frankly, he did a lot with a little, John. Like 15 carries isn't a lot. And he just made it happen. And I think he was trying to prove a point. And I think he's going to continue to do so. But he lowers David Johnson's value. And David Johnson lowers his. So it's going to be a little crummy situation there. But I think both of them can. You're not going to see David Johnson have 30-point games anymore, I don't think. With Drake out there, because I think he earned.
Unless the only thing I can see here, if you are Kingsbury, I would try to get them both on the field. I'm being honest. Maybe you switch them every other play. Maybe you just keep them both on the field. Line one up at receiver. I'm being honest.
I totally agree with you. I totally.
But
agree.
we're not the offense coordinator. That's on our call. That's what. If you have two talents that are this good in the passing game and running game, why not switch them on and off and do a dual threat? Kind of like San Fran's doing in the way. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
I think it can be done, but wait and see what he does when Johnson comes back. So the rest of the stats, Kyler Murray, 17 of 24 for 241, 2 TDs. Also chipped in and 34 yards rushing on 5 carries, so not too bad there. Like we said, the Drake went up.
In Arizona, John, just to before we move on from Drake too quickly, if David Johnson's out, they face the Buccaneers, so that's actually a tough run defense. So it might not be.
No, but it's a lovely
best.
pass catching.
It is. So if they can get an attack going through the air.
Speaking of pass catching, Andy Isabella did everything with his one target, one catch. She had one reception for 88 yards to the house for a TD.
And this is, again, Andy Isabella is a guy that I was touting in the offseason, specifically in Dynasty, and this is exactly why. This dude's a playmaker.
And I think this guy here, we've seen the end of his trail. This could be his retirement
I've
year.
been saying this week after
Larry
week
Fitzgerald, 4 catches for 38 yards. The rest of this team will not go into.
9 yards per reception.
Keyshawn Johnson had 2 catches for 22 yards in a TD, but still nothing great to talk about.
Christian Kirk came down to earth too, so that's a little disappointing to see.
That's the thing. 5 targets, 2 receptions, 8 yards.
But this is what this team does. They target. A lot of guys get a fair amount of targets, but they're throwing to 80 million different people, and it's hard to have value in a situation like that.
On the San Fran side of ball, Jimmy G was 20 to 37, 317 yards and 4 TDs. This is the Jimmy G that most people would like to see every week. And he actually did a little more throwing here than, they ran the ball, but not as much as they should. But they had Matt Breida had 15 carries for 78 yards. He also had 2 catches for 14. Tevin Coleman was held in check this week, 12 attempts for 23 yards. And had 2 catches for 13 yards. Not a horrible week, but not a great week from him, what we were expecting. On the receiving side, Emmanuel Sanders, welcome to San Fran.
This dude tore his Achilles last year.
You can't even tell.
You gotta respect Emmanuel Sanders.
And
here.
what did we say? We said that he would probably be the number 1 wide receiver, not target.
Yeah.
Would be Kittle. He actually out-targeted Kittle, but I'm not going to go. It's by 1 target. He had 7 receptions for 112 yards and 1 TD. Kittle had 8 targets, 6 receptions, 79 yards, 1 TD. But let's not
He
forget,
was fine.
George Kittle did miss a series because he did take a helmet off the knee, which wasn't his fault. It was just one of those fluke things, but he did come back on the field in the next series. Deebo Samuel, this looked good. 7 targets, 4 receptions, 4 yards.
Not really, though, because he dropped a sure touchdown.
Yes, he did drop a touchdown.
He did some stuff in that game that isn't going to do him any favors in terms of getting targets in the future. So just temper your waiver wire expectations on him. And also Andy Isabella, I just want to make a point on him. Yes, he was electric on that play. 1 catch for 88 yards for a touchdown, but also that was his only target. So let's not all lose our minds over him.
Okay, over in London, we had the Texans face the Jaguars. Texans stick to this game and improved 6-3 with a score of 26-3 over the Jaguars.
If you were not playing me, I would have told you, do not start Gunter Minshew. But I wasn't going to tell you that because you are playing me. Well, yes, I guess you still are. But listen, the last time he played this team, he got held in check. It's a London game, a lot of travel. I did not like his chances this week, and he showed us why.
Do you want to know why I played Minshew? The biggest reason?
I think you love the matchup, and J.J. Watt was out. That would be my guess.
No, the other one is Jacksonville's undefeated in London. Or was.
Not anymore. They're
not
not
anymore.
And, anyway, I didn't like his chances, and you had Cousins with a good matchup, too, and Cousins went off.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, you're going to win anyway, so stop crying. But anyway, as far as receptions, what's up with Raquel Armstead, man? Maybe I'll start. Well, wait, I can't. He's on a bye, too. I was going to say he might be my RB2 next week, but 5 catches for 65 yards on 5 targets. I don't like seeing that because Leonard Fournette typically gets targeted heavily, but he's still got 6 targets, 5 catches, 32 yards. So a weird game through the air, John. Keelan Cole, 5 for 80. DJ Chark, 4 for 32. Another game that wasn't that great. He's starting to trend in that direction. Are you concerned?
November 17th is National Take a Hike
What are you
Day
doing?
at AARP.
Oh, that's me.
No, that's you, bro.
So just so you know, November 17th is National Something or Other Day from something, something, something. Not a sponsor. Anyway, DJ Chark. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
I think he'll be
Are you waiting
fine.
for the song? What's going on
Yes,
over
the
there?
song is great, actually. I think he's going to be fine. I think it's just
We can only play the song when they have a good game.
Yeah, I just think he didn't have a good week this week. He got held in check. Simple as that.
Okay.
The person who actually had a decent gamer was Keelan Cole.
I'm not concerned, so I'm going to give you guys some breakdowns here. I'm not concerned because Chark was targeted 9 times. It just wasn't his day. And they threw to a lot of different receivers. 9 different receivers, John.
Quite a bit.
Too. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Chark. Keelan Cole, this is a 1-week wonder situation, I think. But if D.D. Westbrook's out for an extended period of time, you could definitely look at Cole on the waiver wire. Raquel Armstead, if you're a Lenny owner, you should already have this guy. Shame on you if you don't, if you're listening to us every week. But other than that, it was just kind of all over the place. Seth the Valve had an okay game, but not a guy I don't think you can count on every week. Fournette, John, 11 carries for 40 yards. Not good. And again, what did I tell you about bad coaches? The second they sniff that they're going to be from behind, they abandon the run. And you just can't do that with a running back like Leonard Fournette, but that's what they did. He didn't get those legs churning. He didn't get opportunities for big plays. And it was a tough matchup, but I thought without J.J. Watt out there, John, that he would have, a better game, but he did not.
Yeah, I thought the same
Oh,
thing.
and because he was playing against John, and John's really lucky.
They abandoned the run second quarter, which I have no control in London.
Houston, well, wait a minute. You're the guy that says, oh, London. All the London
they
games.
do. What?
So don't
They
tell me
kill in
that.
London. So this was a weird week. Let's be honest. Miami won. We'll talk about
Deshaun
that.
Watson didn't have a great week. I mean, he had 201 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And on the ground, he did have 37 yards rushing as well. So not the best performance from him. Carlos Hyde, John, 160 yards.
He was running like a madman.
Running Hyde on 19 carries, 8.4 yards per carry. Jacksonville just had no answer for Hyde on the ground, but not an every week starter.
Actually, the bad thing about this, Hyde actually had a touchdown because he got a little cocky
Yeah,
and didn't cover the ball, and they poked it out and got a touchback.
yeah.
So technically, he would add even more points.
You know who
if it
did
was
have a touchdown? John Duke Johnson. 7 carries for 13 yards, but racked up a touchdown. Also, finally using him right. 5 catches for 68 yards.
This is the way we like to see Duke.
This is the Duke Johnson that we expected. But again, like Hyde, not sure I can expect it every single week, John. How much of this is Will Fuller not being there? You know what I mean? I don't know if I can trust Duke Johnson every week. And then other than that and DeAndre, of course, but DeAndre wasn't that great. A touchdown kind of saved his day, John. 11 targets, which is great, but only caught 8 of them. Well, he caught 8 of them for only 48 yards.
He was covered quite a bit by A.J. Bouye.
But again, how many times are we going to sit there and talk about this elite stud wide receiver?
No, but I mean, he's
and
still...
blame it on the matchup. He's an elite stud wide receiver.
No, I'm not blaming it on the matchup. He actually did better against Ramsey than does Bouye, but he put up 18 points.
And the targets, but you got to get concerned. It's like, man, if he doesn't catch that touchdown, and he did.
Yeah.
So I'm not revising history, but I'm just saying 8 for 48 is not a good look.
Yeah, he almost had another touchdown on the end around. He just missed it by like 2 yards, so it was close, but that would have been nice for the end round, pad his stats a little more, but...
Yeah, but other than that, pretty uneventful day in Houston. Kenny Stills was okay, 4 for 52, but nothing special there. Caught all 4 of his targets. But that was pretty much it for that game. So as far as waiver wire, I don't see much here. So maybe Keelan Cole's still on the wire, potentially. And again, Reichwell Armstead is a good pickup.
It all depends on Westbrook, though, because the pecking order, if Chris Conley's still out there, you should have picked him up, because he was seeing him with Westbrook there, but...
Yeah, and he got 7 targets, too.
Yeah,
Conley.
he's definitely going to see more targets with Westbrook.
But catching only 2 of them, John?
Yeah, that's the bad part.
That's bad news.
Chicago Bears 3-5 now. Face the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 5-4. Sorry, well, they're 5-4 now.
Yeah.
The Eagles won this game 22-14. Mitch Trubisky, he is just trash.
I don't I just don't know what to say.
Mitch Trubisky.
He's so bad.
Mitch Trubisky. That's what we'll call him.
Trubisky is more like it, because he's a bust. 10 for 21, 125 yards, and that was all in the second half, John.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear what they had at halftime?
I did, but I can't remember. So
they had, this is counting, remember, this is counting punt returns.
It was like negative yardage or something.
1 yard.
1 yard.
1 yard.
That's unacceptable. And that's net. That's not just Trubisky.
Yes, that's the whole team. Net
But when you know
yard.
Trubisky is Trash Bisky, that's another good one too. Trash Bisky, Trubisky, a lot of good options there. Anyway, when you know he's the quarterback, you just gonna stack that box, and then you're gonna see 14 carries for 40 yards for 2.9 yards per carry. Thank God David Montgomery had 2 touchdowns. And 3 for 36.
If David Montgomery could get a good quarterback, can you imagine what this kid would do?
He could do what he did last week, but he'd do it every week.
Yep.
Allen Robinson, John.
Allen who? This is his worst week yet. This guy was
Cringy face emoji.
Yes, he was captain consistent until
until
this game.
Until he faced the lousy Eagles secondary.
I told you, this was a bizarre week.
This was really weird for this team. I mean, even Chicago, who's got a bad offense, this was especially bad against a good run D. Like I could understand David Montgomery having a rough game, but this secondary is awful.
They did nothing.
Well, their secondary, the Eagles secondary did a lot.
We will talk about how
nothing to see here. By the way,
what did you say about Zach Ertz? Do not worry about him. He will
Daddy was right again.
He will come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz, 11 targets, 9 receptions, 103 yards, and a TD to add to the salt.
I told you guys. What did I say? I called it. Yep. This week was the week in that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's the one constant in the NFL. That's the one consistent thing that when a stud player has a couple 3, as they say up here in Maine, bad weeks, you're guaranteed that they will get that action. And he certainly did with 11 targets, 9 catches for 103 yards, 1 touchdown. But Goddard's still getting red zone targets.
5 targets, 4 receptions, 39 yards.
And he got targeted at least 1 time in the end zone.
Carson Wentz, 26.
It's like he doesn't even hear me, guys. It's like we're in different rooms.
No, I hear him.
What did I say?
I don't know now since you just...
jeez, I don't know now.
You said Dallas is still getting targeted in the red zone.
Yes, he got at least 1 target in the red zone.
Yes.
So that's kind of bad news for Ertz, but great game all around.
But you're going to look at it this way, too. Other than who is their deep threat with Deshaun Jackson out? That's what's hurting this team. They have no deep threat.
Yeah.
They really don't. Carson Wentz was 26 of 39 for 239. His only TD was to Ertz. On the running side of the ball, Jordan Howard actually had a decent game against the Bears, 19 of 82.
Yeah, Howard's been
19 for 82.
consistent as
a
of late.
TD. He also had one catch for 1 yard, but it's a catch. Miles Sanders looks like his usage has gone up a little bit. Not where I still want it to be, but against the Chicago Bears, it actually wasn't that bad. He was 10 of 42 on the ground, and then receiver on the backfield, he had 3 catches for 31 yards, so not too bad. And Aguilar's seen the targets, but saw nothing as it relates to yardage. 3 catches for 21 yards.
You gonna let me talk
Yeah,
today?
I'm just trying to finish this.
Jeez, man, calm down. Take it easy. Do I need to get you some more chamomile tea?
No, it's just been a long day. Long and
They're all
stressful
long
day.
days for you.
Well, I am older than you, so I feel it more.
Is that what it
Never
is?
heard that? As you get older, you feel it more?
What's the next game, John? Stop complaining.
Next game is the...
You're just mad because your Patriots got blown up.
No. What did I say to you? I expected this.
And exposed.
No, not exposed. Exposed will be when we win. Kaden, why are you laughing? You're a Pat.
I know Pat's right. I was just saying what DJ.
Because I'm funny.
No,
Kansas City
DJ's
Chiefs,
accent. Just DJ's accent.
Without Patrick Mahomes, beat the Minnesota Vikings 26-23.
Yeah, Cousins. Let's talk about. I want to talk about Kirk Cousins. I don't know about you.
Dude.
So what about
220 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, John. 3 of them. Pretty good day for Kirk Cousins.
And I didn't
as
play.
usual, you started. Oh, wait a minute. You once again didn't start him in a great matchup. What is with you, man? You got to start him in the great matchups, dude. You were in love with Gunter. You were feeling that Minshew magic.
Yep.
That's what it is.
And I thought he actually had the better matchup
Well,
on paper.
Well, Minshew had some magic. He pulled a disappearing act. So, yeah, but yeah, Kirk Cousins didn't. Dalvin Cook, 21 carries, another huge workload. Only 71 yards at 3.4 yards a carry, John. But he always gets that value because he has passing game work. He got 4 catches for 45 yards. So still a good day from Cook. Not a blow-up day for him, but as I also predicted, who else pulled a disappearing act, John?
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, where are you at? Diggs, are you under here? You under the table? No, I can't find Diggs.
And
Where is he?
this is against a Kansas City secondary that is not that great.
Diggs is just not the same guy he was last year. And it's sad because I used to really like Stephon Diggs, but he hurt me, and he hurt me really bad, and I've moved on from him. Amir Abdullah, dude. Like, where did this come from? Amir Abdullah is the bust of the century, and he gets a touchdown, and actually a receiving touchdown, and he actually got a carry, too. So
And he actually returns kicks, too.
And he does. Return of Amir Abdullah, but really not. I mean, the touchdown is really about all there was there. Laquan Treadwell. This is like the Island of Misfit Toys, John.
You mean where they cut him and then they re-signed him?
Bustville, two of the biggest busts in the history of the league, Laquan Treadwell and Amir Abdullah actually got some play here. Laquan had 3 catches for 58 yards on 5 targets. But I think a big part of that, John, was the disappearance. The other disappearance due to injury of Adam Thielen. So does that make Laquan Treadwell, however, a guy to pick up or look at on the waiver wire, provided that Thielen is out?
I think it depends on your matchup. If you're playing a team that has a good chance against tight ends, I would lean more towards Rudolph
Yeah.
because his targets are still high.
5 targets, 3 catches, 23 yards, and a touch. So Rudolph had a good day, but not too heavily targeted. Dalvin Cook had the most targets through the air on the team.
I would lean more towards if it's a easier matchup for the secondary. Oblabi Johnson there, whatever, I can never pronounce his name.
BC?
Right. What?
There's a BC Johnson that got targeted, but yeah, I know you're
No,
talking.
Olabisi Johnson.
He's a different Johnson.
He's the other receiver.
You know, he didn't catch a pass at all, John. And he
Yeah,
wasn't.
he had 1 catch for 4 yards for a TD.
Okay, they're calling him BC Johnson then, because here it's BC Johnson. So I think they simplified his name.
Huh.
Like BC. They're like, yeah, nobody can say his name, so we're just going with BC.
I got Olabisi Johnson.
Olabisi, yeah.
Olabisi.
Yeah, he had a touchdown, but he only got targeted twice, so he's really irrelevant to me. Almost as irrelevant as Stephon Diggs. But Irv Smith, John, he got a little action there. 6 targets, 4 catches for 33 yards. Are you looking at either of these tight ends as streamable guys?
More Rudolph just because... Chemistry.
Smith showed some athleticism, though, man.
He's fast. He's a good blocker, too. But it looks like they're using more double tight end sets now. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, the more than they haven't
Yeah.
given this season.
Well, I think a lot of it's due to Thielen being
Yeah.
out. Yeah. But really, waiver wire wise, I think it's really just those two tight ends as streamable options. Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs, Matt Moore, 275 yards and a touchdown. He game managed his way to a win here, John. Pretty much all there is to it. Damian Williams came back, 12 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. And he did a little work as well, the receiving, but very little.
Speaking of came back,
2 catches for 3 yards.
where the heck did Tyreek Hill come from on that Damian Williams touchdown? He came out of
He
nowhere.
good, dude. He good.
And he outsprinted Damian Williams.
That was so awesome. Literally, Damian Williams like, and you might have seen some Sam Darnold level ghosts because he probably thought a DB was like coming right up on the rear, and it was like Tyreek Hill lapped him.
It was amazing. It was like, but he was trying to protect him.
He
is what
was.
trying to do.
He was doing a great
But
job.
he was more excited that Damian scored. He actually outbeat him in
He
the end
literally
zone.
lapped him,
Yeah.
basically.
No, but that
and
shows-
and Tyreek had a vintage Tyreek day where he just took the top off
Yeah.
and made stuff happen. 6 catches on 8 targets for 140 yards and a touchdown. And he did have 1 carry as
Sammy
well for
Watkins
5
actually
yards.
showed up.
Sammy Watkins had a good day. He shows up every now and again.
I still don't like him.
I can never trust him to start him, but he did have 7 catches for 63 yards. Kelsey had 7 catches for 62 yards. So Matt Moore has done a good job keeping these guys, John, fantasy relevant on what should be the eve of the return of Patrick Mahomes. He didn't do himself a ton of volume, in terms of fantasy points, Matt Moore, but it wasn't a bad fantasy day.
No, he managed his team well. The difference here is that if Mahomes played, there'd be 4 guys with like many numbers.
Yeah. Well,
more
but this is really respectable. The thing I want to talk about, John, in this game is what is the deal with Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy? Who is the guy?
I thought it was LaShawn McCoy, based on what I've seen the last few weeks. Just because the targets he was seeing out of the backfield. I don't know what it is. Maybe Williams was beat up.
And Williams did have one of his runs go for 91 yards.
Yeah.
But that was the touchdown.
Yep.
But he still did that. Longest touchdown in Kansas City Chiefs history.
Longest one
coincidentally.
this year for a rush, too.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Williams was more banged up than we thought when he returned, so that's why he was using McCoy. So maybe he's just taking turns to keep him
Possibility.
healthy.
So would you trade Marvin Jones for Damian Williams? Because Marvin Jones' stock is very high as well.
I'd rather keep Marvin Jones than Damian Williams,
Yeah.
if you wanted my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Marvin Jones still has a... It's hard to distinguish in Detroit right now who the number 1 or number 2 is. It's that neck and neck between those two.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Next game, the Buffalo Bills were at home and they beat the Redskins 24-9.
As they should have.
They should have. Josh Allen had a okay day.
Oh, really, John? Really? You don't think he's gonna have you didn't think he was gonna have a huge week this week? I had people telling me that Josh Allen was gonna go off this week, and I said Josh Allen is a 20 to 25 point a week guy. That's what he is. He's not the guy that gets 30 points.
And he saw 19 points.
35 point upside. Yep. That's what he is this year. And that's why I moved on from him and traded him, because I just did not I could see what was happening. He had all the opportunity in the world and he just wasn't making it happen in terms of big fantasy performances. Josh Allen's a good bye-week fill, and that's what he is.
I also think the Redskins don't get enough credit for their defense. I've watched some of these games. I watched some of this Redskin Buffalo's game. Redskins, actually, there was a couple red zone times that they actually stopped Buffalo.
Yeah.
And there was actually one of the drives that...
The problem was Haskins.
Yeah.
For Washington.
Yeah, so there's one of the plays, Gore gets stuffed, and even...
Dude, 3 times in a row, these idiots ran with Gore on the goal line 3 times in a row, and then Josh Allen's like, hold my beer, and then he runs in
but
there.
did you see the play before that?
He had another
Gore
yeah.
gets stuffed. The Washington guy high-fives Josh Allen. I don't know why Josh Allen high-fives him. Then the next play, Josh Allen scores. So maybe it was
maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I'm like, why is he high-fiving him?
Come on, it's over. 11 carries for 15 yards. Come on, why are you still putting him out there? And then to give him 3 goal line carries in a row. Allen got that in on 4th down, John. 3
Yeah, no,
in
I
a
know.
row, and he went.
Yep.
Every single time. And then they gave him another carry later on where the same thing happened. It wasn't a goal line carry. But, I'm hot this year. I'm on fire this year. I said this was the breakout week for Devin Single. And by God, it was the breakout week for Devin Singletary.
22 points.
95 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. He had 3 catches for 45 yards. Devin Singletary finally came out as the lead back in Buffalo, and they should not ever, ever, ever look back. Ever.
But what did I just say last?
If it's a family trip, intentionally forget Frank Gore at the gas station and just keep driving.
Yeah, remember you asked me last week on our not hot takes. It was,
I know what you mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, when our other show. Remember I said it would start shifting?
It was called Takes from the Dark.
Sorry, takes from the dark side. Remember I said that Singletary, it'll start shifting in towards the favor of him. It was Gore like 70-30. It started to change.
All right, don't try to steal my thunder here, because I'm the guy that said this was going to be the breakout week.
I'm not saying breakout week. I was saying, remember I said because of his injuries.
And it was the breakout week. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that snaps are shifting finally.
Yes.
It's in his
Good-
favor.
Good observation, because it's certainly happening. But the 3 goal line carries of Frank Gore is just I don't understand that. And I think maybe that might have been where the tide turned, John, and where they're like, we gotta stop doing this. And Devin Singletary really had a great day. John Brown did what John Brown does: 4 catches for 76 yards. A great day, a good day for him. But John Brown provides a good floor. And that's what he did this week. Other than that, John, not much to speak of from a fantasy standpoint. Cole Beasley did get a touchdown, but he was only targeted twice. He caught both for 13 yards. Can't bank on that every week. So it was pretty much it for Buffalo. But they did win the game. Washington, on the other hand, was just brutal. Dwayne Haskins was brutal.
No, it's not Washington that's brutal. It's Dwayne Haskins.
But he didn't throw it. He didn't throw an interception
because they
had 22 attempts. I've seen Aaron Rodgers have 22 attempts this year, so it's not, that's not great. That's not a lot of pass attempts, but it's not a little either. I'm not saying he's good. Trust me, he looked bad. And
I know
the only good thing really was that he didn't throw any picks.
I mean, this is a good Buffalo defense. We got
It's an excellent defense.
Yes. They're one of the top defenses in the league. I believe they're top 3 or 4 in the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, to not throw a pick, I get that. But when are we going to start seeing the boom side from Haskins that everybody talked about in the offseason and what he was drafted for? We're not seeing that yet.
The 50 touches last year in college.
I'd give anything to see 1 touchdown or 2.
It's not there.
Adrian Peterson.
Just thought to quickly on Haskins before we move on. The game is just too fast for him. If you watch him, it's just too fast for him. And that's a transition that a lot of guys from college, John, struggle with.
Kyler Murray struggled with it at the beginning of the season. He even admitted to that.
And Jameis still struggles with it, at times. So it's definitely a factor for Haskins. And he's not an accurate guy to begin with. He's got some skills, but he's not an elite talent. And he doesn't have a high football IQ, and that's really showing through. Adrian Peterson doesn't have a high regular IQ, but he did have 18 carries for 108 yards, as John was about to say. So a fine day there, but that's an Adrian Peterson day. He doesn't catch passes. He did catch one for 22 yards, but traditionally he doesn't have a high catch count, doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. In standard, he's a good dude for you, but in PPR, where most of us play, he's fine. He's just fine, and sometimes he'll have a 5-point week. So really, John, the big players here in terms of fantasy were Paul Richardson with 8 points and Terry McLovin with 7, right? Other than Peterson.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Bad.
It was bad.
So avoid any Washington players at all costs. And McLovin has proven to not be a must start anymore. He's
not with Haskins.
He's matchup dependent, and this was not a good match.
If Keenum's in playing, I would feel more comfortable about starting McLovin, but not Haskins.
Too bad Alex Smith wasn't healthy, because he'd probably rise the tide of all those guys.
So next game up was the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Indianapolis Colts. Steelers improved to 4-4. Colts go down to 5-3.
So I'm gonna go on a rant here. How in the world can you not stop a team who only uses one player on offense? How is that even possible? I'll say 2. Trey Edmonds, you got to throw him out there too because he did have 12 carries. But like literally, I'm watching this game and all it is Jalen Samuels, and he's not even that effective. He had 1.3 yards a carry, John, and then through the air he had 5.6 yards a reception. That's terrible. But they just kept going to him. Juju Smith-Schuster only had 5 targets. Vance McDonald had more targets than Juju Smith-Schuster. He gone. I just traded him because he's too inconsistent and you can't trust him every week. He is Will Fuller. And he's not even Will Fuller because he doesn't have Will Fuller upside.
Now
Juju is worthless this year.
The problem is this offense should not Mike Tomlin or the organization should not put their trust in the Mason Rudolph. Big Ben
is awful.
Big Ben, we know deep down will always be the starting quarterback there until he retires. But for them to say, hey, Mason Rudolph is our future, obviously he's not your future.
He threw you know how many? I'm sorry, John.
times.
I'm sorry, John, but I'm so upset about this. 35 times he threw. He got 191 yards, dude. 5.45 yards per pass. He threw an interception. Like, what is this guy doing out there?
Sheriff Driscoll could have done
it. You better believe.
But that's the thing is these teams are. I'm not saying Mason Rudolph was not good in college.
Is awful. Brian Hoyer is a better quarterback.
Well, look what Brian Hoyer did.
168 yards and 3 touchdowns and a pick. Not great on the yardage aspect of it, but he didn't play the whole game either.
But 3 TDs.
3 touchdowns.
He made magic happen.
He made it happen. Pittsburgh should have never won this game. Shame on Indy. Their defense is obviously terrible. They can't beat Mason Rudolph throwing to one guy. One guy, John. He threw 13 times to Jalen Samuels, and Jalen Samuels got him 5 yards every time.
And that's what Darius Leonard planned.
Yes. It's awful.
I know.
Awful. They should be ashamed of themselves. This idiot, Mason Rudolph, has ruined a fantasy-rich franchise. Pittsburgh always has fantasy-relevant players. At least 2, 3, 4, 5 fantasy-relevant guys. And this piece of trash, Mason Rudolph, has ruined
They gone.
And not only that, he has ruined Juju Smith-Schuster, which is a hell-worthy trespass. That is just, it makes me so mad. And I this year, John, Diggs and Juju, I love these guys. And now I've disowned them. If you can get anything, and we better post this after the trade is accepted by Jake. If you get anything for Juju Smith-Schuster, take it. Take whatever you can get right now. I'm telling you guys.
He's like a wide receiver 3 now.
He is a wide receiver 3 at best. In his upside, Jake and I were talking about it. 20 points is like, he's gotten over 20 points once this year. See ya. And I think the only reason he's got value for me specifically and that people are interested is because it's a keeper league and Ben will be back. In redraft leagues, beg somebody to take him off your hands. It's over for Juju this year. His season ended when that idiot Mason Rudolph got in there.
Like we said, he has seen glimpses of game, but he has never returned the form. And am I blaming Juju completely for that? No, because he can't throw the ball to himself.
Yeah.
But there has been times that Juju held on to the ball, but then he tipped it. He should have tipped it.
They can see you.
He tipped it into the defender's hands. So some of it was his fault. No. Sorry about that.
Caden, stop playing with Legos over there. You're supposed to be manning the camera.
That's
You're
right.
causing
Looking back, it's
discomfort
my
and
name.
dysfunction.
But you're making a lot of noise. Thank you.
I'm not making one.
Yes, reprimand your child
So
live on camera.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next game. New York Jets are.
This is great. The Working Class Podcast, everybody.
It's working.
New York Jets 1-7 at the Dolphins, who are now 1-7.
Did we even talk? We didn't even talk about the Colts. You're just like plowing right through the
Colts.
You need to slow down. You need to slow down. Marlon Mack had 21 carries for 89 yards, and you're disrespecting him by not even talking about him. And, that was pretty much it for them. No, I'm just kidding. Zach Pascal had a good game. 5 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Basically, in all our leagues, Johnny was picked up on Saturday by a lot of guys on the waiver wire.
And a lot of people didn't play him.
And a lot didn't. Paris Campbell, I picked on him. He had 5 catches for 53 yards, but not the breakout that I was hoping for. Did have 3 catches for 27 yards. So we got a good fantasy stat line, but I was hoping for a real big boom breakout. And as John had suggested, he is injured and will not be back for a while. But outside of that, John, that's pretty much it. Eric Ebron has gone back to being irrelevant at the tight end position. Jack Doyle caught a touchdown. Chester Rogers caught a touchdown, but not expecting that every week from those guys. So interesting week with Brian Hoyer at quarterback. He went to the open man is what he did, and it wasn't quite enough this week. But yeah, what can you say? Now you can move on to the next game. Any waiver wire guys here? I would say
Pascal, if he has been picked up,
Pascal,
if Hilton.
Yep.
If Ty is going to be out now, Paris Campbell out, Chester Rogers.
Definitely Pascal, yep. I would
Pascal
definitely
or Chester Rogers as well.
look at him. And Juju Smith-Schuster, or Scrooge Smith-Schuster, belongs on the waiver wire. So let's move on to the next game before I get on that.
Dolphins get their first win and beat the Jets. They both go to 1-7. But now that gives Cincinnati the advantage for the worst team.
Such a trash division, dude.
Yep. Buffalo's the only
Such a
other competitive
trash
team. So
division.
on the Miami side, Ryan
Yeah.
Fitzmagic was 24 of 36 for 288 yards and 3 TDs.
Yeah.
He also had 5 carries for 2 yards. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Mark, I'm suspended. Walton did not do much.
He was trash anyway.
He was 12 carries for 29
But
yards.
Gesicki, as I alluded to, John, did pop up
Yeah.
here. He has 6 catches for 95 yards. And without Preston Williams, I mean, you could see more of that.
And
Is he somebody you're looking at on the waiver wire?
With Williams out now, yeah.
I mean, you can't get any worse. I mean, if he does it again next week, you might be on to
He's
something.
seen more targets than most of these other tight ends.
Right, man. And of course, Devontae Parker had another good game. Another guy, John, that people are not giving him credit. He might be the most consistent guy in the league in terms of the wide receiver position for 10 points or more. Like, he's had 10 points or more almost all season. So.
Yeah, and nobody's looking at him because he's on this team.
Well, it's funny because I'm like, well, I got Anthony Miller in a sweet match. I had Anthony Miller in my lineup, and I went against Russell Wilson, so it didn't matter. Thanks, Russell. But I had Anthony Miller in my lineup. So he's been coming back around. He's got a good matchup. And Devontae Parker's on my bench, and I'm like, what am I doing? Devontae Parker gives me double digits every week.
Every week,
and I'm considering starting Anthony Miller over
Who
him.
hasn't even seen double digits once.
I'm like, what am I doing? And I switched it, and again, thanks to Russell Wilson, it didn't matter. But I think Devontae Parker's an every week flex start.
Yeah, it's a shame here. Preston Williams out for the season.
It
9
is, 'cause I like
targets,
him a
5
lot.
receptions, 72 yards, and 2 TDs to end his day and his
You know
career.
what? Not his career, yeah.
Well, for this year, I mean.
Jeepers. Preston Williams, though, remember that name, guys, because next year he's going to be a big star, I think. On the other side of the ball, John, Jamison Crowder, once again, with Sam Darnold out there.
He got targeted
Am I
heavily
missing?
a
I'm
lot.
not missing anybody, am I? No. Caleb Balash still stinks, by the way, so
Yes.
don't start him.
That's why I didn't mention
Even
him.
though he's the lead back. But anyway, Jamison Crowder, 8 for 83 and a touchdown. Crowder, as I was alluding to, with Darnold, is another guy that's just Mr. Consistency. I was a little disappointed with Demarius's output, John, 2 for 19. So, I was thinking Demarius was starting to have a really high floor as a decent flex option every week, but unfortunately that went the wrong direction this week. So, not the case, right?
And Herndon will never play.
Yeah, Herndon doesn't need to play.
No,
because
Griffin's doing amazing.
He likes Griffin better. I mean, it seems like.
Remember, Griffin was in Kansas City and was used the same way. He's
So
a
I'll
good
ask you
guy.
the same question about Griffin. Is 6 for 50, by the way, this week, so that's double digits. Is he another guy like Mike Gesicki where you just let's go get him, let's grab him, put him on my bench?
If Herndon is
stream
definitely
him?
ruled out and he's not playing, Griffin's worth a pickup this week. But you got to base it on his news.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know. To me, it seems like Griffin has earned his role in that offense. And once again, we talked about this team, John. They start their starters pretty much every snap. Their starters don't sit. So, yeah, Ryan Griffin, I'm interested in the waiver wire for sure. Le'Veon Bell, 17 for 66 and 8 for 55 through the air. So a solid game there, but not what we would have expected against the Dolphins. I know that Bell has some great matchups down the stretch, John, but this was one of them, and he was fine, but very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he would have gotten at least over 100 yards here. I mean, backfield-wise, target-wise, he wasn't getting this the last 2 games, but he finally came back down to earth there. 8 receptions for 55 yards. But
And he had been the squeaky wheel.
Yeah, but that's what saved his day. If he didn't get those targets out of the backfield, it was actually an overall bad day for him.
Yeah.
I mean, 19 points, nothing to complain about, but he had the upside here of at least 30 in this matchup. He didn't do anything with it.
You know who had another bad day? Robbie Anderson. Very
Yes.
disappointing season.
There
for
was a
Robbie
couple,
Anderson.
actually, I'm not going to blame Robbie Anderson completely all on this because there was a couple passes that, actually the other two he targeted. One would have been like a 40-yard catch. Darnold overthrew him by like 5 yards. And another one, Robbie Anderson going across the middle that I don't even know who he was targeting.
Look, I get it, bro. There were, not a lot of things have gone Robbie Anderson's way this year. He plays more shutdown corners than anybody else in the league at the receiver position. But I like to look at the big picture, and the big picture is Robbie Anderson has not been good this year, and he's really not been rosterable. Do you cut Robbie Anderson? Do you cut Robbie Anderson for Pascal at this point?
Yeah, you would have to, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with T.Y. not playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely situations. Do you cut him for Ryan Griffin? I mean, you know what I mean? It's a possibility.
Where you're getting into, you're over halfway through the season now.
You need guys that are going to win your weeks for you, and Robbie Anderson has not even proven that he's got that upside this year.
No, he doesn't. He's probably a wide receiver 3, if not 4.
And I love Robbie Anderson. I wanted him to get traded to Dallas.
It would have helped his career.
And I was going to say, had that happened, it would have definitely helped him. But anyway, we'll move on.
So the next game is the Carolina Panthers, who are at home, beat the Tennessee Titans 30-20. Is Christian McCaffrey matchup proof?
He is. There's no doubt about it.
And I'm not even going to talk about his rushing yards in this game, but he has proved that
It doesn't
it's his overall game.
matter.
It's his overall game.
Yeah.
So right now, if you guys don't know this, he is on pace to break LaDainian Tomlinson's
LaDainian. One of the most historic players in the league, and you're calling him LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson's record of fantasy points, most fantasy points ever scored in a season. And McCaffrey's on pace to crush it.
And we witnessed that. We were obviously playing that year that Tomlinson did that. That McCaffrey is doing this, it's the same exact thing. It's the receptions. His receptions weren't even high this week, John. 3 catches for 20 yards, but one of them was for a touchdown.
But it's what he does with them.
And then he got 24 carries for 146 yards at 6.1 yards a clip for 2 touchdowns. The guy is sickeningly good, but he's going to get hurt. I'm telling you, he's going to get hurt. And I don't want that to happen. I'm not the type of guy, John Royce with David Johnson, I'm not the type of guy to wish or want to predict injuries, but it's going to happen, man. You can't get this much usage, a guy his size, and that not happen. But Tomlinson, it didn't happen to, and they're similar sized guys. You know what I mean? I think Tomlinson did, though, in the offseason. So, interesting to see that Christian McCaffrey really has set himself apart as the number 1 fantasy running back. Almost as interesting as Dalvin Cook's number 2. But he is really just the heartbeat of this offense. If Christian McCaffrey got hurt, I don't see this team winning another game. I honestly don't.
Now, especially with the Cam Newton out,
And Kyle Allen is their quarterback.
Kyle Allen's not stupid, and I don't think the coach is stupid.
No, he's doing a fine job.
They're building this offense not around Kyle Allen.
No.
They're building around Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
This offense in this playbook is designed to be about Christian McCaffrey and then the small chip-ins, and that's where Kyle Allen comes into play. He's not sitting there throwing it 50 yards downfield. He's making these 15.
He's still throwing for more yards per pass than Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, but he's making those plays where it counts. So when they're, a couple carries, McCaffrey, let's say it's 30-3, Allen's making these throws to people like, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and it clearly shows here.
Allen is not good. He's not a good quarterback.
No, he's a game manager.
He's a game manager. You look at his QBR in this game, John, 47.8. His rating was 84.4. Those are not good numbers. But like you said, he's a game manager that's not losing them the game. On the other hand, you had a guy in Tennessee I forgot his name.
Tannehill or Mariota?
No, the other loser.
Mariota?
That was doing that, and then Ryan Tannehill comes in and had a pretty good game. If you're comparing quarterbacks, Tannehill looked like a superstar, 331 yards and a touchdown. But again, he wasn't that efficient either with a QBR of 56.4 and a rating of 82.3. So, ugly game from the quarterback position here. But they got you a decent amount of fantasy points. It's amazing. It always amazes me, John, how bad players can have bad games and still produce from a fantasy standpoint as long as they're getting touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what happened here. However, if you want to compare running backs, we talked about McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, 13 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. And then also 3 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown there as well, John. Derrick Henry had a great game. And he's getting work through the air, John. It's not a ton. It's only a few targets, but
even as these few targets are better than his one a game, he's kind of like a Marlon Mack. Sees a lot of ground usage, but when you see that passing game involvement, like here, this is a great game.
yeah.
It's not a lot. 3 targets, 3 catches, 36 yards, but a TD.
But he looked awesome, John. Like, he looked like a man possessed. He was using that size and that frame to his advantage, and he was fast. It's amazing how fast this guy is.
For his size, he's 6'2".
He should be so much better than he is, but it's great to see games like this.
You know who he kind of reminds me of, the way his build is, but faster? Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's faster
To a
than
T.
Jacobs.
Yeah, he looks like a Brandon Jacobs.
He's like a fast Brandon
Yeah.
Jacobs. Your boy Deion Lewis had a decent game
My
here,
boy,
John.
you know how much I
Yeah.
hate Deion Lewis.
five receptions for 33 yards and then 20 yards on the ground. I mean, not great, but not terrible. Maybe I'll look at him as that bye week fill-in for Lenny Fournette. And then, of course, Corey Davis, 4 for 48. Again, not doing what you want him to. Same with A.J. Brown, 4 for 81. Adam Humphries, 4 for 65. So just nothing really, John, to be had here from the receiving game. You can't start any receivers in Tennessee with any level of confidence.
Yeah, and then on the Carolina side, it's all DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel.
Yep.
That's all it is. DJ Moore, Curtis
They're
Samuel.
both great players, man. They really are.
And they are clearly the number 1 and number 2. And
This is what we expect. Imagine if Cam was out there, though, is all I can
yeah.
say. You know?
So, I mean, Moore had a great game. 10 targets, 7 receptions for 101. Curtis Samuel, 3 catches for 64 yards and a TD, but 6 targets. So
And this is why, John, that Allen is serviceable and that Carolina can win games with him, is because all of these players, Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore, they are home run hitters, elite level talents, and it's good to see all 3 of those guys perform this week for you in fantasy. It's always good to see.
So one of the games I expected to be okay. I didn't expect it to be like this much of a shootout, but the Seattle Seahawks improved to 7-2 and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were 2-6. But Bucs keep putting up those points. I mean,
Dude.
they just keep losing in the final minutes. But Russell Wilson mania running wild.
WrestleMania is this week. It's running wild. It doesn't run wild every
No,
week.
but I'm saying this week it is.
Like I said, if Russell Wilson could decide to be this guy every single week, I mean, they'd be unstoppable. But give him credit. 378 yards, 5 flipping touchdowns, man.
You get a touchdown. You get a
It's
touchdown.
unbelievable. And then Chris Carson, again, gets the usual workload. He had 16 carries for 105 yards, 2 receptions for 28 yards. Did not get a touchdown this game, but the usage definitely floated his floor. Chris Carson may be the safest floor in fantasy football as it relates to running backs, much to my chagrin. Tyler Lockett, bro. I just got this guy in a trade in my Dynasty League, and I think we talked about it. 13 receptions for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. We say he doesn't get targeted a lot. 18 targets, dude. 18
He's done
targets.
this. This is the second time he's done this, yeah.
So Tyler Lockett's turning into an elite receiver from a fantasy perspective, and I guess I just stole him, man.
Was it Jake who said during the season that he didn't think Lockett would ever amount to a number 1? Did I argue with him with that? I believe it was him.
And I didn't disagree with him, John. To be fair, I did not see him as a guy like he just wasn't getting the targets. His efficiency was so sky high that you just can't trust it every week. But he's proven us both wrong this year. Who's proven me right this year? Is DK Metcalf.
Oh, he's an immediate threat.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, I mean,
And he still doesn't know the whole route tree.
no, and he still leads the league in red zone targets.
And he does. Yeah, 6 for 123 and a touchdown. I don't think Gordon's going to affect either of these guys, man. I think Gordon's just going to drop double coverage, which could make these guys better.
Or the person it could affect is the one who got the 2 other touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah,
Jacob Hollister.
Yeah, Hollister kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't Luke Wilson. It was former New England Patriot Jacob Hollister. But yeah, 4 catches for 37 yards on 6 targets. Had a good day. I think worth a flyer, on the waiver wire. I really do. I think he's worth a look. And again, next week maybe he gets no catches for no yards, but you got to take the chance at this point of the season.
Russell Wilson,
especially if you're streaming tight ends.
Russell Wilson loves tight ends. I don't know why. He does. Disley, he does like tight ends.
Yeah, I guess.
Jimmy Graham when he was there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I wouldn't say he's not like.
That might be somewhat of a false narrative.
It's not a Kittle narrative.
Well, he doesn't like Luke Wilson.
Well, who likes Luke Wilson except for Owen Wilson?
Luke Wilson's mom probably
Owen
does.
Wilson?
Yeah. You're such a handsome boy.
Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston,
How can
29
anybody not like him?
44 for 335 and 2 touchdowns, 2 carries for 8 yards. Whoop-de-doo.
Jameis is a terrible quarterback, but man, he makes it happen in fantasy, doesn't he?
He does. He really does. Ronald Jones was the leading back here, 18 carries for 67 yards and a TD.
And he's starting to really separate himself from Barber in the carry.
The carries have lopsided now.
Yeah. And rightfully so.
Chef Barber D was 4 carries for 15 yards, but the Boogeyman made an appearance, 1 carry, 1 yard,
and a touchdown.
And I'd also like
the
to say...
epitome of touchdown dependent, the Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman also had 1 target and 1 catch for 12 yards.
I know, man. Chris Godwin, not a great day for him. Mike Evans crushed him again. Evans, 12 catches for 180 yards and a touchdown. Godwin, 7 catches for 61 yards. I really thought this was a Godwin day, given the fact that the Seattle Seahawks give up typically more yards out of the slot. Just didn't happen to happen. But Chris Godwin still gave you a safe floor day. He had a decent day. Rashad Perriman, John, 4 for 42 and a touchdown.
Did you see that catch?
I did.
Bounced off Mike Evans.
It was a complete fluke.
Yeah, it was a complete fluke.
It bounced off like 5 guys, and then
Perriman just walked in the end
Perriman
zone,
was
caught
like
it.
catching butterflies in the end zone, and the ball just fell in his hands.
Right place, right time. So.
Yeah. I didn't think he was in bounds when I saw it. I'm like, he's not even in bounds. But yeah, no, he was in bounds. And honestly, a good heads-up play by Perriman.
Oh, yeah. Definitely on his part it was.
Yeah. Because the ball wasn't coming his way. And for him, so good heads-up play by him.
So next game, we did say this was...
Wait a minute. Do we have any waiver wire pickups here? Are you picking Perriman up on 8 targets? Yeah. 8 targets, bro.
I still don't trust him. That was his first touchdown of the season.
Okay. I think if you got a deep bench, maybe snag him. But they like him, too. He played well last year for them. So
no. So the next game we talked about being high scoring. It wasn't as high scoring as I thought it'd be a little more high scoring than this, but it's still a good game back and forth. The Oakland Raiders beat the Detroit Lions. Raiders improved to 4-4, and the Lions go down to 3-4-1. I know their record does not reflect how they've been playing. I'm celebrating.
Not yet, you're not.
No, I'm saying that it was a touchdown.
You will,
happy
though.
about that.
Yeah, so...
Matt Stafford.
I was not celebrating Kenny Galladay.
No, you were
the birthday
celebrating Marvin Jones.
I'm like, seriously? I got Marvitron, and Marvitron catches 50 million passes, everything that's thrown his way. And John, the epitome of the luck drag. He's the luck dragon of fantasy football. The dude catches every other pass. Galladay catches for like 50 yards.
You know why this is what I said to him. He'll get a touchdown. He's like, why? I'm like, birthday narrative. Some people don't believe in narratives. Sometimes I do.
Well, I didn't doubt he'd get. I knew he would perform well.
I can't see Stafford not getting a touchdown.
It was against Oakland, for God's sakes.
Oakland's awful. So,
but Oakland won, and Detroit does what Detroit does because their coach is an idiot. They lost. They're good at losing games, and it wasn't Matt Stafford's fault because Stafford had 406 yards and 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick, 110% rating, 65.3 QBR. The run game really held this team back, John. J.D. McKissick, 4 carries, 32 yards. I know McKissick fumbled the ball as well. But he did have 8 yards of carry, so maybe you see him as starting to get the lead back role because he definitely was more efficient on the ground than Ty Johnson, 9 for 29, 3.2 yards per carry. Paul Perkins got a few carries. Marvin Hall got a carry.
You get a carry.
But none of it amounted to much. But yes, 4 catches for 32 yards, a 33 yard per catch average for Kenny Galladay, which is very lucky, and 1 touchdown. Marvin Jones, another good day, John. He kind of was quiet last week, but he got targeted 10 times, caught 8 of them for 126 yards. He got a touchdown as well. Are we underrating this receiving core, John, as being up there with the best duos of the league? I think we might be.
We are, because, and you would admit to this too, I think, years past you used to bash Stafford. A lot of people did. Let's be honest. A lot
Because
of people,
Stafford's been bad a lot in his career.
he has.
Yeah,
but
he's kind of earned that.
Yeah, no, he has. I'm not saying he hasn't earned, but now that they're starting to give him the pieces, he can actually do a good job.
And he's healthy.
Yes, that's a big.
So that helps.
That's a big plus. But what the biggest thing hurting him, but also helping him, he doesn't have the run game, but it's forced him to throw the ball more.
Yeah, so you're going to see, and that's why I'm reluctant to trade Marvin Jones, John. I almost think, because I'm looking, as John knows, I'm looking to trade either Tyler Boyd or Marvin Jones, but this team can't run.
No,
And-
and look at the numbers with Stafford
Exactly.
throwing this ball all day
They're
long.
going to throw.
406 yards.
They're going to abandon the run quick, even if they're down a little bit, because the run stinks. So they're not going to put any stock into it.
I mean, if I'm looking at this right, what did Stafford get? 35 points?
Yeah, man,
about
he had
roughly?
a great game. So anyway, Marvin Jones having a great season. Kenny Golladay having a great season. These guys are legit. On the Oakland side of the ball, speaking of legit, Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is
I
legit.
told you that trade early because I was nervous about Jacobs getting hurt, and of course he didn't.
You did call it though. You just said the reason why you wanted to make this trade. You were hurt. You were worried about Jacobs, but you're like, Jacobs will probably go off.
I knew he
This
would.
trade.
And, that would have probably lost you the week, and maybe it did lose me the week, but it was a decision I made because I knew if Jacobs did get hurt, I wouldn't be getting Julio, and I'm happy to have Julio. But anyway, Derek Carr, 20 for 31, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, 28 carries for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't catch any passes, John, which kind of surprised me because he was getting involved in the passing game. He got targeted a couple of times, couldn't wrangle him in. Derek Carrier carried one time for 27 yards.
Yeah, I did see that.
I just want to say that because of his name. But you know what really surprised me, John, is that Darren Waller did not perform well in this game. Only 2 catches for 52 yards. He's starting to peter off a little bit.
I think teams are catching on. We're not going to leave him wide open.
Right, we're going to double cover him. And they don't have... Tyrell Williams is not an elite
And I'm
wide
sorry,
receiver.
Bobby Wagner sitting in the middle, one of the best middle linebackers in the game.
Yeah.
He's not going to give up the ball to Waller if he's covered. I'm
No.
not saying, but that linebacking core is pretty solid actually too.
You got to give Oakland credit because they have no receivers, dude. Like, it's good to see Hunter Renfrow get more involved. Another week where he performed
So
well.
do you think it now Renfro's catching on? Do you
I think he
now
is.
is the time to get Renfro?
I think he is.
Okay.
And if he happens to be on the waiver wire, then I would definitely reach out and touch someone when it comes to Hunter Renfrow because he's building chemistry with Derek Carr, and there's really not a lot of other guys to throw to outside of Tyrell Williams. We know Zay Jones has never been, a major player in this league. I don't think he ever will be. I think Tyrell Williams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow are the guys on this offense that this team's going to throw to. Jalen Richard, decent day, 3 for 56, but really nothing to speak of there. But yeah, Hunter Renfrow, definitely a waiver wire ad. And on the Detroit side, John, I really think J.D. McKissick, who we missed on this, but he did catch 3 balls for 40 yards and a touchdown. He was the most efficient runner. He's the better pass catcher in Detroit. If he's on the waiver wire, trust me, go get him. I mean, he's not going to go off every week, but I think he gives you a safe floor.
There's a chance for 10 points. Was it you or it was someone else that had made fun of me about McKissick a couple weeks
That was
ago?
probably me. I just like to make fun of you.
No, but I
You
know.
give me a lot of ammunition, John.
I'm just saying, McKissick did a decent job.
Are we going to get over it with this Packers-Chargers game? Because I'd like to buzz through that game as quickly as humanly possible.
We're actually not even on that. Hold on. We are on, unless I messed up, we are on the Broncos and Browns game. Broncos took this game 24-19 over the Browns. Broncos improved to 3-6, and the Browns dropped to 2-6. Broncos here. Brandon Allen in his first start. Not bad. Not spectacular. He was at 12 completions for 20 yards, 193 yards, and 2 TDs. So he did a good job of managing this game. He also had 5 carries for 13 yards. Philip Lindsay actually had a decent day on the ground. 9 carries for 92 yards and a TD.
It's just going to ebb and flow with those two guys.
Yeah.
It really
Royce
is.
Freeman, 5 carries for 15
nothing.
yards. Nothing great there.
There's not enough.
This was probably Freeman's worst game. He had 1 catch for -1 yards.
It was a bad game for him, and there's just not enough to go around with these guys.
And I think the problem here is new
And
quarterback.
by these guys, I mean Lindsey and Freeman.
Yeah, new quarterback. I don't know who he has a good relationship with or chemistry with. But it was obviously Noah Fant because Noah Fant had 4 targets,
Yeah.
3
Only caught
receptions for 115
3.
yards.
One of them was a long 75-yard ball.
which he was trucking people if you watch that
Dude,
play.
he was. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And Cortland Sutton represent, man. Another good game, 5 for 56.
That
and a
catch was
touch.
amazing. Did you see
Yeah,
that touchdown? That was an
absolutely.
amazing catch by him.
Cortland Sutton's a must start every week. He's the type of guy you just throw in your flex and you know you're going to
And
get a safe from him.
Devontae Booker still lives.
He does. I
I didn't either. I thought he was just like on the practice squad because he had disappeared, but he had 1 catch for 14 yards. On the Cleveland side,
Baker Mayfield had the best game of his season, I think. 273 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Just still not looking good, though, man. I don't know. He doesn't look good.
okay,
He kind of looks chubby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he kind of looks blasé. He kind of looks like Johnny Manziel.
okay.
Like,
Here's an interesting thing about Mayfield, about this game, and this has nothing to do with how he played.
it's encouraging.
But-
He had a decent game against
But
Denver.
no, this is the thing that was brought up yesterday. The guy shaved two different times during the game. He had a full beard. He went to a goatee. Then he just had a mustache. He shaved 2 separate times in this game. What is that?
Purpose?
Thank you.
Superstition?
No, I don't think superstition. He is more worried about his looks than his play.
Or-
who cares about
Or
the mustache?
attention, or at the very least
Yes.
attention. Yeah.
So that speaks for his.
Yeah.
This is me saying this. When I had heard that, I'm like, so he's more worried about his looks, how he looks to the fans, than he is about the way he's playing.
yeah,
I
don't
lost
know.
total respect after I read that.
I mean, I'm not going to
And
lose
then the
total
pictures-
respect, but...
But this was one of his better.
Lose total respect for a guy like Antonio Brown. Not a dude that shaves
not
his
total
beard.
respect. But what I'm saying is, I think he cares more about his appearance.
I think it's attention. He wants to be a superstar. And
But
if
he
you
will
want to be a
get
superstar, you got to win.
start playing.
Right, yeah.
Start playing like he did last year, which was
But not a terrible game, so maybe he should shave more often. Odell, 5 for 87, not bad. Not what you want from Odell, but not bad. Jarvis Landry, 6 for 51 and a touchdown. That's a good game. Nick Chubb had another good game. 20 carries for 65, not what you want to see there. But again, 4 for 26 through the air, so he gives you a solid outing. He spread the ball out to 9-10 different receivers. Not the worst game for Baker Mayfield.
No.
Against a tough defense. So I don't want that to get lost. Yeah, we like to pick on Baker, and yeah, we like to pick on the Browns because, who doesn't? But let's not lose the fact that he had a decent game against a tough Broncos defense.
and he was throwing right at Chris Harris a
Right.
couple times.
So let's give him credit
Okay.
for that. You know what I
I'll
mean?
agree with that, but let me ask you this though: do you think Nick Chubb, now with Kareem Hunt, that the impact happens, or it does not happen?
I'll be honest with you, John. I was looking at big trades to happen when I ended up getting Julio Jones, and I'm like, I need one more big time player that I know is a stud. And I looked at whose team was it? Josh's team, who's in our league, obviously. And I'm like, Nick Chubb. And just my instinct was like, not a stud. And I don't know why I felt that way. I mean, he's a really good player, but I don't think he's on the level of an elite top level guy like a Julio is at his position. And I think part of it isn't necessarily Nick Chubb's fault. It's the team that he's on. And Kareem Hunt's coming. He is coming. And he is going to get usage. Freddie Kitchens is coaching for his job, I truly believe. So he's going to use every single asset that he has. And make no mistake about it, Kareem Hunt is indeed an asset. He's going to get work. And it's going to hurt Nick Chubb's value. There's no two ways around it. If that answers your question.
Okay, that answers my question.
Good. Are we at the stupid Packers-Chargers game yet?
Yep. So the Chargers.
Aaron Rodgers should shave. He shaved his whole face.
Okay,
I don't
let me
know
at
what-
least give the score. And
No,
you can do all you
I
want.
want to rant
Chargers
on it.
26, Packers 11. Chargers
11 points.
Chargers go to 4-5. Packers go to 7-2.
So I went against John Sorois with Aaron Rodgers, one of the great top 10 of all time, right, John? Would you agree with that?
Easily, yeah.
Top 10 quarterback of all time, the man, the bad man, as they call him, who has just had 2 monstrous weeks, and his QBR is 14 against John. And I thank God he got a touchdown. He threw 4.6 yards per pass against John. This is Aaron Rodgers that we're talking about. Aaron flippin' Rodgers. You're just so lucky. You're so lucky, John. It makes me so angry. Green Bay better figure out what happened this week on a serious note, because Aaron Jones, he was trash too. 8 carries for 30 yards. He did nothing this week. Jamal Williams salvaged his day with a touchdown because he wasn't great either. And Devontae Adams had 11 targets, caught 7 of them for 41 yards. Devontae, only guy I'm giving a free pass to here, John, just because he's getting back into the mix. What the flip happened to the Green Bay Packers? I mean, the Chargers are fine, but they're not that good.
The biggest thing I noticed in this game, their defense for some reason the last couple weeks.
Oh my God, was it bad? I mean, they were just, like, they didn't want to be out there.
But look at Joey Bosa. He was all over the field.
Bosa was a machine, but
Yes.
Bosa's been playing all year long. He's never done that to a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No, but I'm saying the last 2 games, Joey Bosa's been on fire. Like his brother, Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa's been on fire all year.
Right.
But he's actually, this defense has stepped up the last 2 weeks and actually is starting to play like the LA Chargers defense it should have been. And I don't know if that's the whole reason. My guess is here, I think the secondary finally stepped up. They know they had to. They were facing Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they do have Desmond King, Casey Hayward. This is a
So
solid
can I ask you this? Are you concerned about Aaron Rodgers going up against a solid Panthers defense next week?
No.
Not concerned.
No.
Start him right up.
I think he's going to be pissed off because of this.
He does have, I never really buy into that narrative, but Rodgers is the type of guy that does have a chip on his shoulder. But this is concerning. This is very concerning. So they need, there's a lot that Green Bay needs to focus on.
The other part of it too, do you think that the Heat had something to do with this? It wasn't LA, it was
maybe, but this is unacceptable.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Unacceptable.
I think the weather had something to do with this game. It was
and in defense of the Packers offense, as you alluded to, their defense gave them nothing for time of possession. Nothing.
No, nothing.
There was a drive that LA had, John, that basically took away the whole first quarter. It was unbelievable. It was an embarrassment. And Green Bay needs to do some serious soul searching this week and hopefully some heavy duty practice.
Well, Green Bay's been known for their secondary. I mean, yeah, Phillip Rivers did not give up a touchdown here, but we know the Green Bay.
Let's be honest, the Chargers offense has not looked good. And they look like world beaters against
the Green Bay.
Bay.
Green Bay's defense, we know the rush defense is awful. We do know that. In which it reflects here. Melvin Gordon, 20 carries, 80 yards, 2 TDs.
It was Gordon's day.
Yeah,
today.
3 catches, 29 yards. This is the volume we've been talking about, Gordon. But I also alluded to about Eckler being involved still. 12 carries, 70 yards, so he did very well
Eckler
there.
had a solid day. Everybody had a good day except one guy, John. Keenan Allen, once again, under 10 points. What is going on? What do you think it is?
Is his injury that they talked about, not this past week, the week before, where he said he had like a quad kind of like, or hamstring, I believe, was kind of aching?
I'm beginning to wonder because I've been telling you guys every week, like I did with Zach Ertz, don't worry, it's coming. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Games.
If it doesn't happen next week, John, I'm a little concerned. Well,
because there was a couple plays that Ja'Marr Alexander for Green Bay, and he's actually really good.
And they play the Raiders next week.
Yeah.
So it should happen.
Yeah. Mike Williams, even going against a decent secondary here, had 3 catches for 111 yards. And Hunter Henry, Green Bay's not great against the defense. I mean, against the tight ends. Not great. They're not bad either.
Yeah.
But they got chewed up here. 10 targets from Hunter Henry, 7 receptions for 84 yards. But Keenan Allen just disappeared.
And I don't want to get hung up on Allen because it is noteworthy that Melvin Gordon's back. He had 3 catches for 29 yards. He had 20 carries for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he even allowed Austin Eckler to have a decent day with 4 catches for 23 yards and 12 carries for 70 yards.
But usually
this is what their running game was supposed to look
like. Yes,
like.
but usually when you see these big games from Gordon, you usually see at least 6 to 7 catches for Allen, like 80 yards. You're not even seeing that anymore.
It's not there.
Hunter Henry's seeing it now.
And he's efficient. He's getting 13 yards per catch. That's really good.
Yeah.
Those are really good numbers. But he only got targeted 4 times, John. And Hunter Henry get targeted 10 times. So is that just Rivers exploiting, something that he sees in this defense, which was pretty much the whole defense? Or is this an injury? What is this indicative of is my question. If it doesn't happen next week against Oakland, I'm concerned. And if it does happen next week against Oakland, John, are you trading him? I mean, you got to get ready for the playoffs.
If he has another bad week, I almost think you trade him this week before.
I'm trading guys because I need to get ready for the playoffs, and I don't want no inconsistent dudes out there.
And
he is developed into
Allen is
that
5 straight
for
weeks.
whatever reason.
I wouldn't wait till this week to see if it happens.
Yeah.
I would do it now and start early.
Yep, I got rid of Diggs. I got rid of Juju personally because of that. So I would be a hypocrite if I told you not to shop Keenan Allen. And you might want to do it next week because I think he'll finally show up against Oakland.
Raiders are bad against the
They're
secondary.
bad.
Look what Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay just did to him.
And our trade deadlines are coming up too, so I don't know what leagues have, different leagues have different deadlines, but definitely looking to moving Allen, I think. I don't know how you can't at this point. One more game, John?
Yes, one more game. We go into, your favorite game.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Oh.
I don't have too many of them this week.
No, it's
All my stud players.
the Ravens improved to 6-2 with a win over the Patriots, 37-20. Patriots dropped to 8-1.
So, in all seriousness, if we want to discuss players that are matchup proof, I think you might want to involve Lamar Jackson insofar as him having a good floor. I mean, we've seen him not have some games that are like 20-22, you know what I mean? But I think Lamar Jackson is pretty bankable, a bankable asset every week. He only had 163 yards through the air and 1 touchdown. And, and you're one that said it too, their offense is great. Well, their run offense is great. Their pass offense is sometimes less than desirable, but that's his floor. It's funny. With Lamar Jackson, his passing work is the icing on the cake for him. Where most guys that have the Konami code, it's their rushing ability that is the icing on the cake. No, his baseline is based on his rushing sometimes. Yeah. With his 2 touchdowns and 61 yards on 16
about a guy
carries.
After this game, what does he have? Almost 800 yards rushing?
Yeah, I think he was the top 3 rusher. He would have been like a top 3 running back if he was a running back.
He's beating multiple teams
right
now.
It's unbelievable, and it's helping Mark Ingram's value. Mark Ingram had 15 carries for 115 yards. Nothing wrong with that, and he also had 2 catches for 29 yards. Hollywood played, and I think that helped. He didn't have a great game, but I think it helped at least having him on the field because New England's defense had to account for him. He only had 3 catches for 48 yards on only 4 targets, so maybe not quite 100%. Mark Andrews was outplayed here, John, by Nick Boyle. What's the story there? He also was out-targeted. Do you think they were double teaming Andrews?
They know Andrews, other than Hollywood, they know he's the primary target. And Hurst, the last couple weeks, more teams have been paying attention to Andrews since the uptick in target volume. And Hurst is the guy getting open. But you notice they're running more double tight end sets, though, too.
3 tight ends actually caught passes in this game, so that's interesting. Jackson really spread it out. Really no pass catchers here that stood out other than Boyle, which don't bother. Don't waste your time on picking him up. He is fool's gold. The only other thing I took away from this, John, is it interesting to you that Gus Edwards got the goal line carry on the touchdown and not Mark Ingram? Or is that just situational?
Could have been just situational.
What kind of defense they have out there, I don't know. But if Mark Ingram would have got that touchdown, he had a really good day. He had a good day anyway, but that would have definitely added to it. On the Patriots side of the ball, Sony Michel, 4 carries. Rex Burke had 4 carries. James White had the most carries, just didn't run the ball. Baltimore was just beating them up like they owned them, so there wasn't a lot of rushing opportunities there. The big takeaway for me was Mohamed Sanu, John. 10 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown.
So Sanu looks like an Edelman here. Same
But
floor.
what did I say? This could be a Sanu week.
Yeah.
He could pop here.
But look at this. You have Edelman and
It's almost
Sanu,
the same stat line,
other
except
than
Sanu got the touchdown. Yeah.
They're okay. Sanu got a couple, 3 more targets if we're going to be stat for stat.
Yeah.
Receptions were the same yardage, 8-yard difference, but that TD. But they were both solid yesterday.
Yeah. James White did what James White does. He gives you at least 10 points. 2 catches for 46 yards on top of the 9
But
carries for 38
this-
and the touchdown.
This team lacks, what did I say? A deep threat.
That's what we both. Well, I don't think it's a deep threat necessarily.
Sorry, stretch the field.
Yeah, because
Stretch-
Edelman doesn't get enough credit
And
for it. He's a deep
Hopefully,
threat.
N'Keal Harry is that answer.
I think that he is.
And that's what they were hoping for, too.
I'll say this on the podcast, and people are going to gasp when I say this, but I am trading Juju Smith-Schuster for a third-round pick in N'Keal Harry. Because number one, Juju Smith-Schuster isn't consistent. I cannot count on him to win me a playoff championship if he just doesn't show up randomly and gets grossly out-targeted by a middle-of-the-pack running back like Jalen Samuels. N'Keal Harry provides upside to the degree where if you look at where New England struggled last night, John, it was the goal line passing game. Because the opposing defense knows, well, we just got to get right in tight to neutralize Julian Edelman and Mohamed Sanu because they're not that back shoulder throw type of guy. They're not that elite, great hands type of guy that can win those 50-50 matchups all the time. Now, N'Keal Harry doesn't have great hands, but he's all about those 50-50 matchups.
But he has that.
That's his game.
But he has that vertical leap. He has
You know who he is?
He's Des Bryant.
He is Des Bryant. And I know that's high praise, especially coming from me, but that's who I see in N'Keal Harry.
Wasn't that sad that I just knew that?
Yeah, that's who I see in him.
Because here's the thing: you guys also have to look at this aspect too for the Patriots. Trade deadline happened last week. They got rid of Gordon, and
There's a reason they did that. It wasn't because of Mohamed Sanu.
No. But here's the thing: they got rid of Gordon. Think about this, guys. Gordon was really hurt, but he's gonna be practicing this week. Think about that.
Right, he wasn't hurt.
He wasn't hurt. One, for them to save money on their salary cap. Two, there's something going on that we don't know. We probably will never know.
3, I really think they believe in N'Keal Harry.
And I do too. Because why? 4, there's an answer to that one. You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because they didn't go out and get someone else.
You're right.
They could have went after an AJ Green.
You're right.
And if they really wanted AJ Green that bad, because think about this, we knew they wouldn't get Robbie Anderson. Why? Same division. We know that Jets are not going to trade Robbie Anderson to the Patriots.
I'm telling you.
But they could have gotten AJ Green, and let's think about this for a moment. If they really wanted someone like an AJ Green, they would give up the farm.
Yeah.
They would, and they didn't. So that means they believe in N'Keal Harry.
I'm telling you right now, N'Keal Harry could be a league winner for me and anybody else that gets him. So if we're talking waiver wire, and we like to at least discuss throughout, the recap, guys that are interesting pickups on the waiver wire, N'Keal Harry's more than interesting if he's out there. And I would say I would spend 50% of your fab budget on N'Keal Harry if he is still on the waiver wire right now. You probably should have picked him up last week for nothing if he was kicking around. But I'm really high on N'Keal Harry. I think he could be a league winner. He is by far, John, the best alpha level talent on that team in terms of offensive players. Edelman's great, but he's not an alpha level talent.
Edelman is.
N'Keal Harry is, and I said it all offseason, and he's going to cash in for me. I really, truly believe that.
Edelman is a security blanket / possession receiver. That's his job. It always has been. He is Brady's security blanket. He's the guy who will get first downs, but he will also get you. He's a guy that Brady can lean on if it's 3rd and 8. You know what I'm saying? But he's not that guy that's going to rake you in a 50-yard bomb every game. Maybe every once in a great while, yes. Or he might get you a touchdown. But Edelman's job is just to get the chains to move, to get that first down, to get that tough yardage. It is not his job to get in the end zone.
Yep, it's not.
And
he can get you there.
Like I said, you can take our theory. I like my theory than 80% of everybody else. But think about that, guys. They didn't go after these big names during the trade deadline. They could have. Think about it. If a team really wants somebody, they're going to break the bank, and they didn't. So they obviously have faith in N'Keal Harry. Second of all, they cut Josh Gordon. Let's be honest. They cut him. He wasn't injured. They put him on IR so they can save money. Business for you guys.
Yeah.
But they didn't go out and get an AJ Green. There was plenty of
because wouldn't they got like a salary cap hit or something like that?
So they're smart about their moves too.
Of course, any team would have done that.
But here's the thing: if a team really wants somebody, they will pay the pieces of the chip. They could have gone after Emmanuel Sanders. They didn't. But they don't want.
And I don't want to. They went after guys, but they weren't willing to invest what I think the price tag was.
And they wouldn't.
And I think they did that because of N'Keal
And they wouldn't
Harry.
have drafted N'Keal Harry where they would
He's
have.
a first-round pick, guys.
Exactly. They invested this money in for a reason.
I guarantee you, if I asked 100 people, John, that play fantasy football, what do you think about Juju Smith-Schuster for N'Keal Harry and a
They'd say you're
third-round
crazy.
pick? They'd laugh at me.
They say you're crazy, but you're
But
thinking.
I am the mother effing trade whisperer, John, and I am for a reason. And I really think N'Keal Harry is going to be better than Juju down the stretch. Just a hunch.
But you also got to remember, you're thinking outside of the box. A lot of people don't think that way.
And that you have to.
They think of Juju in his past. Well,
knee.
guess what? Who was part of that past?
Yep.
Big
Ben
Ben.
Roethlisberger, who's part of the now.
Yes.
The worst quarterback in
This
the
is like
history
the
of the
movie
NFL.
Christmas Carol. We're in the future, and Juju's
Yeah.
doing bad in the future.
Yep.
And that's why now is your time to get something, like you said, something out of him and take a chance in the playoffs. If N'Keal Harry goes off, let's say not even goes off. Let's say he plays 6 catches, 50 yards of TD. That's still better than
I'm
Juju.
glad you're buying in here.
I'm completely bought into this,
Yeah.
especially when you start throwing the different, you know what I'm saying, scenarios. Like I'm saying, why they didn't go after another
And
receiver?
I could be wrong, guys. I mean, this is not supposed to happen. N'Keal Harry's not
And
supposed
guys,
to come
you
in and blow
didn't feed
up.
me that Des Bryant thing. The fact is that I knew.
Well, we discussed N'Keal Harry a lot in the offseason because I was very high on him. But I love N'Keal Harry, and I love what he brings to the table as a playmaker. And I think Tom Brady's going to love him too. But we'll see. We'll
But
wait
yeah,
and
but
see.
what's the worst thing? N'Keal Harry is like Des Bryant for even 3 years? I'll
So-
take it for 3 years.
Just to throw it out there, I might have started bashing the Patriots, but we're finishing strong. And we're representing for them. So
Well, this is a long podcast.
yeah, that'll do it for today. We're gonna get out of here so we can go see the wives and the kids. But until next time, we'll see you tomorrow when we gloat about "Told You So" on guys we were actually right on, as opposed to last week in the tales from the dark, or the takes from the dark side.
So this one will be, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out the title.
yeah, did we do our actual open today? I didn't even do our.
I
open
don't
today.
think we did.
Yeah,
I think you went into the
plowed
rant.
it. Yeah. I was so excited about the Patriots. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.